Hey, Mark Reese here with Design Strategies for the Human Web, and today I want to talk a little bit about social media and your small business. Now, a lot of people get into social media because they feel they have to, or maybe they want to, but they don't really know where to start. And if you don't know where to start in creating a social media strategy, it can be very, very confusing. So, what I want to talk about today is some questions to think about when you're designing your strategy for social media. So, the first thing you want to do is answer the question, why do you want to start a social media campaign? And there could be various reasons for this. It could be to bring more brand exposure to your business. It could be for community outreach. It could be just to expand your brand online. Whatever the reason is, have a reason on why you want to start the social media campaign and write that down. That's going to help you define and set goals for the rest of your project. Now, the next question is I think something that a lot of people don't consider, and that's the time that it's going to take. So ask yourself if you really have the time to run this effective campaign. If you're not going to have the time, then I recommend do not doing it, or hiring somebody like me, somebody else, somebody that's capable of running a social media campaign for your business. But you have to have time, specifically if you're planning on expanding your brand. And getting more brand recognition online. This is something that could take 6 months to a year, if not longer. So if you're going to start it, you need to make sure that you have the time to complete it. And that's one thing I think a lot of people don't take into account, is they don't understand the time investment that starting a social media campaign is going to do. It takes a lot more than, hey, I just ate a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right? Okay, so the next is you need to write down how you're going to define success. What does success mean for this campaign? And success could be very different. Success could mean I'm just looking for more exposure, something very simple. Or, you know what, I want to bring 5 new people to my website. Or we can even be more specific and say, I want 5 people per week to do something, which is called a conversion. You need to define how you're going to define success so that you're able to benchmark, because maybe you set your goals too low, or maybe you set them too high. You need to understand what is going to be considered successful for your brand and your social media strategy. Next, I want you to look at who is your target audience. Okay, so not everybody. There's 3 people that you should never ever create content for, and that's everybody, somebody, and anybody. And what I mean by that is you need to have a target market, a target audience. Specifically, if you're doing a social media campaign, who are you targeting? Who is that person that's actually going to convert? Who's that person that's actually going to buy? Once you know who your target audience is, it's going to be easier to define the platform in which to use it on. Because, hey, quite frankly, Facebook is a great platform for business, but it may not be the right platform for your business. So you need to think about where your audience is going to be, where that target market is going to be, and where you want to display your message upon. Okay? Next is, what is your intended message? What are you trying to get across? Some people say, I just want, they don't know. So you need to be specific here. What is your intended message for this product? If it's to drive more conversions about a specific product or a white paper, maybe you want to have people download your latest ebook, right? Okay, so your messaging needs to be about that ebook. It needs to be talking and creating content for that ebook. Or maybe the intended message, maybe the intended message is for somebody to come into your restaurant to try it out for the first time. What are you going to do to create that content to make me want to come into your restaurant? So think about your intended message. Okay. Now, what will you use to benchmark your return on investment? What is your return on investment? And, it's not necessarily monetary. Return on investment can be anything from, I got 5 clicks, 5 people downloaded my ebook. This campaign drove revenue in excess of $10,000, which would be a great return on investment. But when you're looking at your return on investment, you have to still look at it as everything is money. So how much time did you put into that campaign to receive those results? And once you can answer that question and know what your expected return on investment would be, it's easier to create and it's easier to create content and direct that strategy. But you need to know really what's an acceptable return on investment. Now, a few minutes ago, I talked a little bit about benchmarking success. Well, you also need to benchmark failure. And what I mean by that is at what point are we going to call this campaign a dud? What are we going to consider a failure? And it's all right to fail because, heck, not everything's going to be successful. But if you know what to expect, before the inevitable happens, you're going to be more prepared to deal with it. You know, a lot of people drag on campaigns far too long, and at the end of the day, they don't really need to be, because you know what? They're dead. Nobody's buying. So understand what your benchmarks are for success, and understand what your benchmarks are for failure, and in turn you're going to be more successful because you're going to be able to take that data at the very end of your campaign, look at it, analyze it, figure out what you're going to do better, what you're going to do, what you're not going to do, what you did good, what you did bad. Okay? How are you going to actively promote this social media campaign? Because here's the story. Just because you're online doesn't mean anybody's going to find you. You know, it's that old adage, if the tree falls in the woods and nobody's listening, doesn't make a noise. The same thing holds true for social media. In order for people to find you, yes, some people are probably going to find you by accident, but for the most part, you need to let people know that you have a Facebook page, that you have a presence on social media. So what does that mean? Hey, friend me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter. What this is doing is this is engaging interest. You know what? You might have something at your cash register that says, hey, friend us on Facebook for our weekly and daily specials. Okay? Or, you know what? For our Facebook users, we're giving special discounts. Okay, so you need to let people know, and you need to put this link in your email, and that's your email signature. What a great place to advertise, and put a link to your Facebook page. On your business cards, you need to tell everybody, hey, you can friend me here, you can find me here. You need to advertise your business. In turn, these people, hopefully, if you're providing great content and great deals, these people are going to help spread your message. Okay, and so pretty soon you might go from 0 to 100 to 200, 300, 400 followers very quickly, but you need to know how to promote your campaign. And lastly, what I want to talk about is, how are you going to reward people for following you? Okay, yeah, I'll follow you once, but if there's no engagement, I'm not going to come back. So you need to keep actively considering the fact that you need to reward good customers, and that might be member-only specials. That might be you might on Twitter you might have a tweet on Thursdays. Hey, look for our special. Our free appetizer coupon code, or something to that effect. But you need to reward people for following you. People are going to follow you, and if they're not engaged with you, they're not going to follow you anymore. So one of the things that you want to do is, now that you have a captive audience, make sure you reward them. Make sure you're engaging with them, because social media, it's about being social. It's about conversation. It's not about me, 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 me. A lot of businesses think that, hey, look at our newest pictures. Hey, look at us at this convention. Hey, look at us here. It's not about you. It's about me, the visitor, the person who's going to engage with you online. If you want more tips, visit markreece.net. That's MarcReece.net. I'm Mark Reece.